dark, cold, rainy day up here in Vermont today.
My martial art master used to say, gloomy outside, gloomy inside.
Exactly. Ooh, gloomy or gloom. And so, and my furnace broke. And so like it was cold for like 24 hours in here. And it'd been a while since I started a fire in one of my 5 fireplaces. So it's like there's 5 freaking fireplaces in this house. In order to keep it warm, in order to keep the whole house warm with fire, you have to do all of them. It's crazy, which I never do, right? I usually just do the one in the living room. But I don't normally have a problem with heat, right? But a really amazing, mega super high-end steam oil water boiler system was put in before I bought the house. And so, it burns a lot of oil. And so I'm like working, doing my thing. And we just launched our new thing, which is really exciting. We're going to be talking about the new IFL letter and the launch that went live a little bit later here today. And I was trying to write up some super creative, super awesome email.
Hey, Jean, what's up, girl?
Morning, Jean. Morning, Jean. And like
afternoon.
I totally was in the slumps. Right. And by the way, I get in the slumps. I totally get in the slumps. Like the slumps are no stranger to me. And so and Joshua a little while ago was like, hey dude, the email go out today? I'm like, oh, one just went out. And the one that went out was a awesome email, total repurpose of a long-standing winner that I knew would do well. But there was zero creativity in it. And I was like, I wanted to write something new. And I was like, I feel like I have the slumps. And then I'm like walking to the kitchen and I'm like, slumps are for chumps. And I had it. And so I want to talk with you guys a little bit about the slumps. Do you ever get in the slumps?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I'm saying facetiously. I know we all.
It's fine. It's funny, like the cycles, right? Like the patterns of the ups and downs. Cycle? Well, and life cycles, right? Like if it's not careful, that like when you're up, and if you stay in motion, a body at rest tends to stay at rest. A body in motion tends to stay in motion. Well, it's like that universally, right? So like I've been like full steam ahead for the last basically 3 months and 7 days a week and actually enjoying every minute of it. But with us launching last night, today, like all of a sudden, like,
yeah.
And, with the inevitable technical crap that goes on when we have to, and that, I can figure it out, but it drains me. Right. So like I found myself in a daze today, like I had to jump in the shower and right before this so that I could recenter. And then when you said that you were in a slump, or I forget how you phrased it when we were chatting over text, it was just so interesting to me because the phrase, I don't remember where I heard it from. It was some cliche phrase back in like the 80s from some sales book or something, but it said, well, it had to be the 90s because I didn't know about sales till the early 90s. But it was something along the lines of if you're hot, stay hot. If you're not, get hot. That's right.
Gene says that the slumps suck. Joe Lavery chimes in. You met a slump buster, or you meet a slump buster. Oh. Check this out. I want to read you guys the email I just wrote because it's a great email, frankly. It's in the part of it is in the description, but it was too many characters for the whole thing to fit. So I'm going to read this to you. I think it's great. But the point here is that I felt like crap mentally and emotionally, and I had to get an email out anyway. And I was thinking about how I felt, and I realized I had the slumps. And I successfully turned the fact that I had the slumps into a great email. And that is one of the major takeaways that I want to share with you today about being a copywriter, about being a prolific marketer, whether you make videos or you're a podcaster, whatever your medium is, whether you're a YouTuber, blogger, I mean, whatever, right? is you can use the raw emotion or the experience that you're having of life as your springboard.
For sure.
Ooh, your springboard. Haven't done that one before. There you go. That's a great mascot. So the email, it's funny. So the Slumps is the from name. Okay, this is a great use of a negative mascot. Which, by the way, if this is the first time you've heard about mascot marketing or fictional email marketing, I don't recommend that you use a negative character, a negative oriented character until you've been doing it for 6 months to a year. Okay. So if this is your first exposure, warning, Will Robinson, do not use a negative character as your from line unless you've trained your list to get fictional emails from you. Right. Because a negative from line is more damaging to your relationship, connection, and subscriber count to your list than a negative subject line, right? Because basically negative...
What's up, Anthony?
Anthony, good to see you. A negative subject line is one thing, but a negative from line indicates spam, okay? And because people are used to getting questionable from names, right? And if it sets off the hairs on the back of your neck at all, you're spam. So if you haven't trained your list to receive great fictional emails and mascots for a long time, don't use a negative oriented character, right? Now, even if you'll see in this email, it turns into a positive thing, but that doesn't matter if they've already clicked the spam button and unsubscribed, right? Okay. So the from line is called the Slumps, and the subject line is first name can't be unslumped. And I decided at the last minute to put "un" in parentheses just to draw the I. Okay?
Smart.
And it says, "It's me, first name. We're not strangers, but this whole email thing is a bit new for us. And we don't do new. It's hard enough just to get out of bed in the morning sometimes. I'm the Slumps, and we've been buddies since before you were born. I'm there on the dark and dreary days when you feel down and defeated, when everything's going wrong. I live in your head. I make you want to stay in your bed and forget about everything.
I love it.
Everything that's not working out. But when I come around, you tend to also forget about everything that's going right. One thing you can count on, and it'll always be there when you want to feel sorry for yourself, or when you want to blame the world for all of your problems. I'll stand by your side, but I can't do everything. I can keep you right here where you've been for so long. I can keep you safe from the outside world."
Dude, I got chills. I got to just tell you, this is freaking awesome.
Good. I have them too, but I'm the only one.
No, you're dead on target, man. This is awesome.
I can't keep you right here, or I can keep you right here where you've been for so long. I can keep you safe from the outside world, safe from change, safe from growth, safe from transformation. I'll keep you comfortable and complacent unless you decide that it's time to leave me behind, which is why I'm writing to you today, because I'm scared. I'm scared that you're outgrowing me, that you're taking flight, as they say. I've had this knot in the pit of my stomach that feels like you're going away.
I don't think you can see him, but...
and never coming back. That you've been thinking slumps are for chumps. And if I'm right, then I wish you well, but I'd prefer it if you'd stay. Because there's a whole new and sometimes scary world of abundance out there that you've never seen before. Things you can do that you've never done before. Boundless wealth for you to tap into. Businesses for you to launch. Empires to build. Countless fans, followers, clients, and customers that are just waiting for you to come out of your shell and really go after what you've always known you are capable of.
Dude, where have you been? This is classic Tellman stuff right now, man. This is good.
Thank you. And that's why I've been keeping this secret from you. Actually, it's a letter. By the way, where I said keeping this secret, this is a bold blue underlined hyperlink. Actually, it's a letter. Very, very very important letter and very important letter are all on a separate line, and each are bold blue, bright blue, hyperlinked.
Nice.
And it was sent to you a few days ago by a very mysterious man, the mentor of your mentor. His name is Joshua Shafran, and he trained Tillman to be the mystical, magical marketing master you've come to know and love. I saw it, and I hid it away because I knew that when you saw it, I might never see you again. But I felt so bad because I care about you so much. I just didn't want your focus to be overtaken by inspiration or motivation or abundance or prosperity. I just can't stand it any longer. Okay, here's your letter. You should probably read every word. It will help you break free from scarcity thinking and shift your mindset to something far more abundant and prosperous. Abundant and prosperous are hyperlinked. Just don't forget about me. Promise? I'll always be here if you need me. Slowly yours, the Slumps. P.S. There's just one skill you need to focus on in order to permanently get out of the financial slumps. The letter that Joshua sent you will explain exactly what skill it is and how you can get better at it so you never have to feel trapped by dollar sign ever again. It'll make me sad to see you go, but I've always known this day would come. That's underlined. That's a link. This day would come. You've never been one to let the slumps keep you down.
Nice.
So that's the slumps.
Very, very good, man.
That's the slumps. I wish I could write like that on demand every day. Damn it. Sometimes I can, sometimes I can't. Hopefully it'll do well. A lot of times those types of emails do really well, but even if
I can tell you this, that even if it doesn't get your standard open rates and click-through rates like some of your other ones, I can tell you the people that do click are going to be awesome.
Right.
Because it's resonated with them and it spoke to them in a way that you know, what I love about it, besides that it really is speaking to the conversation that I believe they're already having in their head right now.
Yeah.
It also pre-paves the road so that they'll get some value out of the 5-part series that is, you know, waiting for them. So, you know, like it's not like a surprise when they get there. It's not like getting a bucket of cold water thrown on you in the shower. That's right.
That's right. On that note, if you guys want to see what's at the other side of that link that was in that email, you can go to showspath.com/slumps. You know, I tried one of those with an HTTPS the other day, and the secure didn't work out. Are we sure that that's going to work out here?
Which one?
I tried the abundance one.
Yeah, I mean, I just clicked on it myself from the comment, and it took me right there.
Okay, no, I typed it into. Okay, maybe it was. Who knows what it was? It doesn't matter. If it's working, it's working. That's all we need to say. That's perfect. So do you guys want to know what's on the other side of the slumps? Joshua, what year did you first write and publish Income for Life?
The marketing piece or the product, the training, the program?
Yes.
Well, it started. It got turned into a for sale product later on. It started off being a training program for my NPod dealership program that
Nitro was doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was a unique way because I was having merchant account issues, as everybody was at the time. And it was a unique way to let people, it wasn't an affiliate program. It was a true dealership where they could buy at wholesale and sell and resell at retail.
Yeah.
And so it was a concept of training the dealers on how to build a real business around this and how to, use NPod as one of their products in that capacity.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up shutting down the dealership program because it turned into me managing and running what equated to a multi-level marketing company.
Right.
And while I'm a fan of network marketing, I'm not a fan of running one.
Right.
And I certainly don't like the amount of management behind the scenes. So we, after about, I think 6 months, it went all right. But it just, like, I wasn't excited and good at managing the growth and managing the behind the scenes. So then I said, well, crap, this is an awesome program. Let me turn it into a actual product and let me enhance it. And over the years, I've rewritten the manual multiple times and enhanced it in different ways. And eventually it became my #1 best-selling program.
Yeah. I've heard that story before, but it didn't quite sink in, honestly. No, like, you've told me that story before, but I didn't quite log it. So, what year did you create the product then?
I want to say maybe mid 2004.
Yep.
2000 going into the product was created around then, but it took me probably, if I'm not mistaken, it took me about 6 months to well, maybe not that long, but it took me a good solid, a minimum of 3 months, 90 days to design the marketing system to sell it.
Right. So,
and the reason was the I just didn't have the right feel until I got onto the story that I tell in it, and then it was like, this is it.
Yeah.
And it took, I mean, like, full-time work. Like, I had written many different versions and tossed them out because they just weren't right.
Right. So, do you have any idea roughly how many copies you've sold?
Well over 15 or 16,000 for sure. Like I said, it was my best-selling program, which is why it was kind of like surprising when I shut down the entire operation, stopped selling everything. And it was, not only was it my best-selling program, it was the one that converted the best. I mean, like, best-selling, great, but like popular was awesome. But it actually, the marketing piece actually converted better than anything to this day that I've ever written. And it stayed pretty consistent in different formats. But like, I had in some scenarios when I was running Don't Shoot the Guru Yet. I don't know if you remember that whole scenario. We were converting at a 42% conversion rate for a several $100 product.
Yeah. Awesome. So, I want to talk a little bit about what Income for Life is all about and what it does for people. But before we go into that, I want to let you guys know that Joshua and I decided that we're going to republish and re-release Income for Life, specifically because of the pandemic. And what we found was there were lots and lots and lots of people that really wanted to go through our NPOD program that we rebuilt and relaunched. It's all Joshua's original work, and we retaught it, and we brought some students through. But what we found were there were a lot of people that quite simply didn't have their mindset right about how to actually create more abundance, wealth, prosperity, and leverage in their life or in their business. They just weren't where they needed to be in order to move forward with NPOD. And so I said, Joshua, like Income for Life is the foundational material. It's the major mental and emotional shift that you kind of need to make in order to actually be able to stop jumping from thing to thing to thing and opportunity to opportunity to opportunity and really put some roots down. Right.
Yeah.
So we were like, well, how much should we charge for it? Right. And we came up with a few different options and a few different possibilities. But what we landed on is we realized that a pay what you want offer is really, or more specific, pay what it's worth to you offer is really where it's at, because people are all over the map right now financially. And if you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling trapped, if you know something needs to shift in your head in order to grow. Maybe you've been much more successful in the past and right now you're in a slump, right? Or maybe you know that there's more out there waiting for you and you can really take it up a notch. This will really help. And what I would recommend is that you read every page of the sales process and really learn about the abundance shifts that need to go on in your mind. The link is showspath right there, showspath.com/slumps. And you can type that into your web browser and check it out. This just went live yesterday. What do you got?
Well, I just wanted to chat about we often just give people behind the scenes right here. So I figured why not let them in on a little bit of the thought process, because I'm assuming that a lot of the people that tune in are marketers and business owners and are looking to up level their skills in this area. And I was really resistant to the pay what you want offer, because I think it leads sometimes to the people that this entitlement, like the world owes me something, so they don't, and at that point, if you're going in with the mindset, if you don't pay something for it, if you don't have any skin in the game, then you're wasting your money, even if you bid $10 on it, for it, even if that's your price point. So I was concerned that we offered this in a way that would serve people, because for me, the worst thing that could happen is that if somebody purchased this and didn't use it and didn't go through it, didn't give it the place of honor and respect that it deserves to be able to, get the value out of it. If you're not there, then don't even spend anything on it,
Right.
because you're not going to get any value from it. Right. So, and I also wanted to make sure that it wasn't like a business opportunity junkie type, jumping from thing to thing to thing. And then this is going to be the next thing that they hope is going to save them, but then it doesn't, because they're not going into it with the intention of actually going pro, like getting out of the slump. They're going into it with the intention oftentimes of save me from the slump, fix me. This is my last hope. I'm desperate.
Right.
And it never works out that way. At least it never did for me and anybody else that I've ever seen be there, at the same time. So I spent a good deal of time rewriting portions of this to handle those things and be really transparent with people about look, and just like you're really proud of that slump email, and you should be, I'm really proud of what I was able to bring forth for people with this. And one of the things that I point out is look, what you choose to pay to, for this program doesn't matter to me or Tellman. I mean, we love all of our children the same. We treat you all the same, but it may have a big, profound impact on you. And so here's why. And I go through a couple scenarios, like if it's too much money, if you pay too much for it, then you're always trying to justify why it's not going to work, or, you're always playing devil's advocate. And because you're always in that desperation mode of I got to pay for this. I got to pay for this. I got to make this work. I got to make this work. And on the other side of it, so that doesn't work on the too high side when you stretch that way, unless it's within enough of a stretch. And on the too low side, if you're, like I've already said, if it doesn't mean anything to you, that you can walk away from it. And the interesting thing is that it's different for each one of us based on our particular situations and circumstances, right? Yep. And it changes. It's not always the same thing, right? So it's not always the same for the same person, but I remember, one of a client that was too willing to be able to walk away, and the purchase price was several $1,000s. Mm-hmm. And it's because they were able to walk away that they didn't re-engage.
Right.
Right. So for them, that several $1,000 price point wasn't enough to, like it's not that life doesn't get in the way. Of course, life is going to get in the way, and there's going to be challenges, and there's going to be things that jump out at you. The question is, do you get through it and get back to where you were, or do you get through it and jump to the next thing, or do you get through it and say, well, shit, I need my money back, or this didn't work for me, or, whatever. Now I'm going to go chase the next, white rabbit and see what's going to happen there. And so I wanted to save people from that drama, and because it's, either side doesn't work.
Right.
And I also wanted to save our, my reputation and frankly, our, customer service and work with people so that we're getting people enrolled the right way and that they're actually coming in with the right mindset. And right. I think I did. It's a much different way of writing for me than I used to write, and that I had to revamp a lot of it because it's not nearly as bizoppy or hypey as some of my old copy. And the I have to be okay with the initial results not looking the same as what it used to look like, right? Because I need to pull people through the process and really help them, serve them. And one thing I know for absolute sure, that whether somebody buys or not, if they are willing to go through the journey, and I put together, separated it into a 5-part expanding your abundance awareness series of 5 distinct sections of the process before I even start talking about like the promotional piece of IFL. And if you will go through all of those things, whether they buy or not, if they go through the 5 initial pre-paving.
5 things. What you guys want to do is you want to go to this link, showspath.com/slumps, and get yourself unslumped. And so when we're talking about the 5 lessons and the 5 pages, that's where we're sending you. So go check that out. You can do it while you're listening, or you can open it in a tab and read it afterward, whatever makes sense for you. And that's at the end of that process is also where we're offering the Income for Life manual and process at a pay what you think it's worth offer for you.
Yeah, and just to finish up that one thought, the thing that I know for an absolute positive that I feel awesome about is that regardless, in this day and time of uncertainty, especially when it comes to income and shifting, alternate sources of income, that whether they purchase or not, the experience will not leave them the same way. I don't care who they are. If they actually go through it and understand it and consume it, it doesn't matter at this point whether they purchase or not from the standpoint of serving people, because they will truly help them to expand their abundance awareness. It'll help them to shift into that mindset of going pro, of quit playing at it, quit, treating it like a hobby, and actually commit to making some stuff happen. And to know that it's not some magic fix. It isn't going to be, there is no such thing as a trouble-free journey. There's going to be obstacles, there's going to be things, and that's part of the deal. And that's also part of the fun if you're doing it right. And so I'm just real proud of the fact that, besides it working, it's early stages, but it seems to be doing at least what I want it to do. Mm-hmm. There's some pieces that we need to tweak and improve and optimize, of course, as there always is. But the over under is that I don't think anybody is ever going to be pissed off by going through whatever elements that they choose to go through of this process, because I'm not forcing it on them in any way, shape, or form.
I do want to point, I want to tell you guys something. Is we had someone who paid $2,000 for this earlier today. Okay. They read through the whole thing. They got to the order form and they typed in $2,000 for what we're talking about here. I'm not telling
and they literally could bid anything. They could choose any price
all the way on up, and they chose $2,000. So I'm not telling you you need to pay $2,000, but what I'm saying is it's a fascinating experiment, first of all. And so far, people have been getting an enormous amount of value just out of reading the lessons and the story and the process that you put together at showspath.com/slumps. So if you're feeling a little slumped out today, guys, how does the slumps affect you? Like when you get the slumps, how does it affect your ability to perform in business? I'm curious, like what types of things do you start slumping around?
Gene says, I've only heard of one business that was willing to share in the profits created by new systems, essentially going into business together. That would be great. I'm not really clear on what you're saying here, Gene.
I have no idea what you're saying either. Until a certain amount, agreed amount. Oh, right. So that's actually a fairly common pitch from stage, Gene, where you'll get someone who's like, hey, you can pay me, instead of paying me $50,000 for my system, you can pay me $5,000 for my system today. And then you can continue to pay me after you're making money to make up for the remaining $50,000 that, $45,000 that you still owe me.
Yeah.
I mean, between 25 and 50,000 is a classic thing. Here's a little peek behind the curtain, Gene. In those situations, the guru selling from stage almost never gets any of that back end money. It's absolutely a positioning thing in that case. Most of the time, unless it's like a MLM or a pyramid scheme. I love
the challenge with all of this is that you need engagement, right?
Yeah.
So they've got to execute. And for me, it's not about the execution has to happen in order for me to serve people.
Right.
So if I can't get them to execute, what I have to share with them doesn't matter. Right.
Right. And with clients and students, truly, as a marketing entrepreneurial guru and mentor, getting people to execute fast, relentlessly, and without hesitation is a very challenging thing. As you may know, Gene, perhaps.
She just said, "Ha ha."
I know, but seriously, that is the guru's lament. Like that is it's just it's.
Yeah, I mean and when I first started out and I was a very very adamant direct response marketer, hardcore, and I still am to a certain degree, but the whole thing was like, well, I know that it's there for them if they're gonna put it into action. The question is, I can't make them put it into action, and whatever happens, and that's okay. I mean, I like in terms of integrity, that's okay because it delivers everything that I promised for it. But the thing that's missing for me right now is making sure that I do my best to set people up to win and manage their expectations, because something that I've found very significantly over the last 10, 12 years is that the BizOp pitch sets people up to fail. And it also sets them up to get pissed at you. And what I mean is that you're managing their expectations. You're telling them it's easy, it's going to happen. It only takes an hour or a week. And and while that may be true for you after going through the learning curves and creating it and understanding how to do it as the expert behind it, it is not true for somebody starting out. And by positioning those type of expectations, you set them up to fail no matter what it does. I mean, like the rarities are the people that just go for it, and like Tellman, when he was just ready, he made it happen. On the other hand, it doesn't hurt sales at all if you tell them realistically, like, look, this is what you're in store for. Like, challenges are going to happen. This is the deal. And, like, save your money, not as a technique. Don't, if you're not ready for this, don't do it.
Right.
But do it as as a way, because what I found is that it doesn't hurt the sales at all. But what it does is it it gives them a chance to win, and it sets their expectations so that when it happens, when an obstacle comes up, when they feel stupid, when these things happen, they know, oh, Josh said that was going to happen, so like I should expect this. And then they feel positive about it because it wasn't like it didn't turn out to be different than anything that I said.
Right. It's true.
So that's a big piece of all of this. And why I spent, I'm pretty confident that I could have put the exact same sales letter up and had, very similar, if not the same results in a different format. But I spent 3 months rewriting it from the ground up, literally.
Interesting. Do a straight test against the old,
I have no interest in doing that because I know what the customer profile is going to look like on the other side of that.
Right.
And that's the whole point, right?
Dude, so I did come up with some cool ideas that I'd like to share with you.
Please do.
You guys want to go behind the curtains for a little bit, like behind the scenes? So we've just been talking about some mostly front stage stuff, like what is IFL, how does it work, what it can do for you, why you should get it. Here's a link to go buy it. You should read the letter, which you should, right? But I had 2 things that just came up while you were talking that were pretty rad. One was actually I reread the entire IFL letter this morning while I was trying to get myself unslumped.
The new one or the old one?
The new one, looking like word for word. I actually which is a feat of enormousness to sit down and read something. And so I sat down and read it.
As good as mine.
And so you can do this with ClickFunnels. I don't know if you can do it with ThriveCart or Convertry, actually. But one cool feature that ClickFunnels has built in is you can throw a video up at the top of the page and have it autoplay, and then you can have your letter start underneath the video. And as you start scrolling down, the video will actually kind of like pop out and like scroll down the page with you, so you can still see like in the upper left-hand corner, the video is going down while you're reading.
I have a video player that will do that.
Cool. So we can make 5 separate videos. And it could just be reading the words, and it could be you or it could be me, depending on how we want to frame it, reading it word for word. And they could be headshot videos, or they could be keynote one sentence per slide videos. I think a headshot with the transcription, even if it was inaccurate sometimes, down below would probably really catch the eye. The point is, having 5 short videos while people are scrolling down reading that, playing in the background, I think would totally rock. I think that would absolutely boost conversion.
I'm willing to try that.
And it would only take like an hour to bust those videos out, and I'm happy to do it. The second thing is I don't know what the heck is wrong with me. Here's why. So we do a fair amount of private consultations in order to see if people are going to be a good match as far as clients for us. We talk with you guys. We get clear on what your business objectives are, what your personal interests are, what kind of business you think you want to build, how much experience you have, and really your personality,
personal obstacles that are coming up for you personally.
Yeah, and if like the kind of thing you want to build is even in alignment with the types of things that we teach people, right? So we take all this into consideration when accepting new clients, whether they're new clients who are building their first business or whether they're existing email marketers that are just looking to blow up their results and become excellent email marketers, right? And historically, I've done a lot of free private consultations where we just put it out there to people, and some people sign up and then they show up, and that's good. But the problem is when you offer free private consultations, sometimes you run into a problem where this is show up rate, right? Again, because people don't have any skin in the game and they don't mark it on their calendar, or they don't have that emotional attachment because there's no skin in the game. But at the same time, I have tried the paid consultation where you put down the $100 deposit, and I've had a challenge selling that in the past, frankly. I've tried it a few times, and I was not able to get enough people to take that. And I just realized. That's right. Why isn't that a great immediate upsell?
Ding, ding, ding. Now you know what I want to do inside the vault.
But even before the vault, even after they register for the vault, right?
I mean, I think that becomes one of the hooks. I think we could move the current football phone offer to the bump, and we could have the free football phone for the vault be the consult.
Ooh, that's another interesting twist. Well, one way or the other.
And I do think that the two things that are hurting us with just the straight up consultation approach, whether you're selling it or whether you're just doing it like we've been doing it,
right,
is that depending on how it's positioned, there is no real value or understanding of what's going to come out of that conversation ahead of time. And that leads to the second thing, which is it's been commoditized with so many people doing the strategy sessions,
right,
and that type of approach to the strategy sessions has everybody like saying, well, yeah, this is just an elaborate high ticket sales pitch,
right?
When in fact, yes, and also it's designed to truly serve you and leave you better, regardless of whether it makes sense to become a part of what we're doing or not.
Right.
And that is easily positioned. I've done that often by positioning the consults as a bonus add-on that truly serves them so that they learn how to customize their experience, and then it prepaves the whole journey.
Right.
Gene, am I in the vault? If you want to be, you can be. You are ahead of the vault. You are the advanced level client who's already in the experience, but I'm happy to give you access to it.
In the penthouse on top of the bank.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to be a part of it, great. We'd love to have you, and I'll gladly get you an invite to it. But it's not, it's to get people to graduate from the vault into where they're ready, willing, and able to take advantage of the type of consulting training that you've done with us and that you're doing with us right now.
That is correct. Awesome. Well, we should talk about some of the different ways to position that later, I think. But I bet we can do some cool stuff. Rock and roll. So, yeah, guys, if you want to get your hands on Income for Life, and let's just talk for a moment before we wrap up about the three types of income and really how they work, right?
Yep.
So there's income today, there's income tomorrow, and there's income for life. So what's income today?
Well, even just backing it up, like going back to why I created Income for Life in the first place, it was for the dealership program, right? And the dealership program, people need to understand, both for themselves and for their future clients, that not all lists are created equal, that not all businesses online are created equal, and that there's a big difference between a cash flow oriented business that has a couple of big paydays and then, drops off again. Mm-hmm. And so really what I ended up doing is that there's a 9-step process. And I pointed out to people that thought that they understood and that they had a highly leveraged business. And what we discovered is that they were stuck in income today type money. And the breakthrough, frankly, was that acknowledging that the type of leverage you do needs to shift at various stages of the business development process. It all starts with income today, where you're leveraging your time, but then it needs to shift. And where a lot of particularly online entrepreneurs get stuck in this thing is time for money.
Yep.
Like they get some big paydays,
Uh-huh.
and they get some big results, but then they got to reinvent themselves in another 3 months, 6 months, 6 weeks, whatever,
Right.
and do it all over again.
Right.
Instead of,
And
perpetually
that's like
building.
classic biz op, like launch junkie stuff. Like if you're constantly doing launches in the Warrior Forum or on ClickBank or on JVZoo, or you're caught up in like all the personal development launches, and the only time you ever get subscribers and was under a whole bunch of other people are promoting you, and you spend the rest of the year promoting them, right? And you don't really have the ability to grow.
And then you see the list erosion, and you see the
Yep.
the lack of results.
Right.
And so I needed a way to show people that there's a different way to do it, and to build your business so that it becomes a true business asset.
Yeah.
Where it works with or without your direct input and effort.
That's right.
That becomes a leverageable thing that if you're, no matter what you're doing personally, it continues to perform, and also done right, it continues to grow.
Yep.
And so the income for life philosophy was like understanding that there is a different path, but you have to understand what it is, whether you're re-engineering where you are right now and turning an income today type business, which is all about survival. It's all the type of leverage that you're using is time for money.
Yep.
And then when you move into the next type of leverage, which I've termed income tomorrow type leverage, you're going beyond your time, because the time is always limited, right?
Yep.
Only two choices that you have when you're just leveraging your time. Either you make your time more valuable, or you put in more hours, or a combination of both. But at a certain point, it's going to be capped out, because there's only so much of you to go around, period.
So that's like when I would, as a hypnotherapist, do a session for $75 an hour.
Yeah.
And I'd also be doing free sessions. And so I'd be doing free sessions to get
To lead
leads,
to the,
and then I would sell either individual sessions or packages for $75 an hour. But really, at the end of the day, the most that I felt I could charge was $75 an hour. It really evened out to about $60 an hour was how things, kind of shook down. And I couldn't
and you were maxed out there.
I couldn't break free, right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So this is pre-internet.
So definitely there's the product fulfillment side for sure. And then also there's the marketing side, because that's the part that a lot of people don't realize, is that you can do the same kind of type of marketing, and you're going to get the same type of linear leverage where, when you put in the time, you've always got to be getting fresh blood onto your list. You've always got to be getting new sales. You've always got to, instead of working, like we all give lip service to, the back end, the lifetime customer value. When in reality, what most people are doing is they're chasing the next front end dollar.
Right.
And there's a way that you can build your marketing machine so that you're not always going after the next. And there's a way to do it in a way that serves people. And you're now witnessing this unfold, like from the ground up, with what we're doing with the Income for Life, relaunch, and the vault, and a few other tricks and fun stuff that we've got up our sleeves coming down the pike. But the thing is that you have to have a plan to go from that. I mean, it all starts with, like I was telling you earlier, I was putting in 10 to 20, 10 to 15 hour days, 7 days a week for the last 3 months. There's no way around it. At least I haven't found one to get the result.
Not while you're building it, right? Not while you're building it.
Right. But I have a plan, and now we're about to leverage that plan. So the marketing now, once we get it optimized and fine-tuned, now helps people. And also, it can never have a bad day.
That's right.
It's incapable of delivering less than 100%. Now, people visiting it can have a bad day. And that's what I've designed into the process is to serve people regardless of whether, so that it's the bright spot in their day. And there's a way to make your marketing that way.
Mhm.
And that's when, you start to leverage your knowledge and start to leverage systems. And that's the middle piece, which is the second type of leverage, which is what I call income tomorrow type leverage, where once you're graduated from the hustle and the bustle and the time leverage, you move into leveraging systems, leveraging your knowledge, leveraging something besides yourself. And you duplicate yourself, but you duplicate yourself the right way with marketing messages, with product fulfillment, however that has to look. But I'm talking primarily in terms of marketing right now.
Mhm.
And then, but this is where a lot of people also don't realize and stop here, because a lot of people have gone this far, but that's still linear leverage, because at a certain point, it's going to cap out too. It is not, the promise of unlimited scalability, unlimited wealth, unlimited, because there's only so much that the way that most people build those systems, like a marketing campaign, burns out. If they don't build it with the intention of getting to the third step, which is income for life type business, where you take and you turn those knowledge, the systems, the time that you put in, all of those things, and you turn it into a true business asset that does the work. Not you, not your systems. Your systems are a part of those assets, but the systems and the asset does the work for you. And now you have it where the input becomes the output of your one result becomes the input over here, and input and input and input. And regardless of where you are, when you build this type of a process into your marketing, regardless of what you're doing, you have, I'm not saying that it's going to go on forever if you stop doing everything entirely, and you never do anything new, but you will see that there will be a huge long tail.
That's right.
Comparatively speaking to what people are used to with these blips on the radar.
Well, think about it like the heating system for your house. Okay. So once you got the system set up and it's going to work most of the time as long as it's maintained, right? As long as when the parts break down, you take care of them, you make sure it's clean, make sure it's working. There will be parts that need tweaking over time, and maybe you won't do them. Maybe you'll hire someone to make the tweaks to your system over time. But it's a very, very, very cool principle. And most people simply are stuck creating a business that really is a version of a job, right? Where you're still stuck at that first piece, which is income today, and you're just trading your time for money. It's the natural.
And they have tastes of the duplication. They have tastes of the system leverage and the knowledge leverage, but it burns out quickly, right?
That's right. That's right.
The thing is that it's not like it's hard. It's not like, but you've got to have the intention in mind to move forward in that fashion. And you've got to be, like the work that you're doing trading your time for money to put in to build it has got to be with an end in mind, not to just continue to do these big payday type launches is not a real business. There's no equity in that business. You could not sell that business for any kind of a multiple. Talk to Eric Owens, it just ain't going to happen. Right? Because it's reliant on cash flow and you to create that cash flow. And as soon as you stop doing whatever the magic is and you get burnt out doing it, it dwindles, and there's no equity value in that business. On the other hand, if you know this and you're doing it with an intention and you have a process that you're following to get you there, and what there's actually 9 steps that lead you through this journey, and that's what is the outlined in the program and taught in the program, besides just the marketing.
In the real world, in the physical world, a really amazing example of this is the Blue Man Group. Right.
Yes. Great analogy.
Right.
Go ahead.
Because, so like every other band in the world, they're basically a combination of a band and clown style performers.
Right. Carnival.
And however many of them there were to start, probably 4, and they made all the weirdo instruments and all shaved their heads and painted their faces blue and wore the same outfit and started doing cool performances. And that lasted for a point. But I'm going to make a bold statement that the original members of the Blue Man Group are probably not spending 5 to 7 nights a week playing anywhere, right? They're probably really enjoying all the money that they're making from all of the Blue Man Group clones all around the world. Well, right now it's probably hard, but who are live streaming, right? But the point is that who knows the name of the person that started the Blue Man Group? Who knows the names of any of the Blue Men? I don't.
Yeah.
I see it like twice. It was cool, and it's been around for a long time now.
Yeah, and I don't know whether they were first featured in. There's a great book. I mean, there's a Blue Ocean, I believe, is what that talks about. But there's another book. I don't know whether it came before or after, called The Starfish and the Spider.
I love that book.
It's awesome, and I highly. I mean, like it's got to be 12, 14 years old now.
Really good, amazing.
Yeah, and just brilliant at the understanding it, and that's in essence. We're talking about building a Starfish type marketing model.
That's right.
For your business that then leads spills over then to turning your business into a Starfish type business.
And so the principle is that when you chop off an arm of the starfish, the arm grows back, and the arm you chopped off grows another starfish. Right. And so the difference between a starfish and a spider, even though they're kind of shaped the same way,
cut off enough legs of the spider, it's done.
Yeah, or the head.
Yeah,
right?
Thump it on the head, gone.
Right. So starfish are it's a good little metaphor, right?
Yeah, and I mean, like here's an example, just a business example of a company that was a spider type organization and transformed into a starfish type organization. Apple. Mm-hmm. Okay. It was driven off the charisma in the beginning of Steve Jobs. Brilliant presenter, charisma. He had a complete vision for the world and how he was going to do that. But until they launched the iPhone, and until not even the iPhone, but until they launched the App Store and allowed that to spread and allowed that to take hold with what they did with how they promoted the App Store and how they're utilizing that. And it wasn't quite open source, but it was like that type of environment rather than trying to control the whole thing. And they took their lessons from, the lumps that they took early on when they had a much better product, but they wanted to control everything, the hardware, the software, and everything else. And, case in point, when Steve Jobs did die, yes, the company suffered from like a leadership standpoint, but the company didn't lose any ground as a business because they had the traction that was already there, and they had the user base and the adaptability that the zealots were already in place.
That's right.
And it was like truly a Starfish organization, where it wasn't. When Steve Jobs got outed and, got ousted rather, not outed, ousted, he ended up at the same time, like the company, that was the death blow, right, for the company. And then he had to come back in and resuscitate it, bring it back to life, resurrect it. And then all of a sudden, he learned his lesson though. And some very cool interviews, like when he's actually giving the rare compliment to Bill Gates that he talked that he was jealous of Bill for, that he really admired Bill for, was that Bill licensed his technology, his software, the operating system, to every hardware manufacturer, and he did joint ventures everywhere, and that's how he got the penetration and the usability of it. And so he took a page from that book, and then all of a sudden, like some of the best programmers, I mean, like this was a major shift for Apple, and it goes unevaluated sometimes, right? When they launched the App Store and they gave 70% of the profits to the developers.
Right.
Now, all the best talent that used to work for, in Silicon Valley for these companies, and they would get a high salary and everything, and they were sought after. Well, they say, shit, I can do this for myself and make 70%, and Apple's going to do all the customer service, all of the processing of the orders, and I'm going to get paid off of that. Holy shit. And all of the development talent went from where they were developing to developing apps for the Apple platform, for the App Store. And but the brilliant part about it is that when they saw what the apps were being able to turn the iPads and the iPhones into, with what they were, the utility that they were able to create, they went and improved the hardware to make it even better, because they now had a synergistic relationship, and these app developers did things that they weren't even imagining could be done.
Right.
And now all of a sudden, when they first released the iPhone and the iPad, like one of the first apps that went out that was crazy was DJ mixing. And you could actually scratch the turntables, like, and on the iPad. And it, like, they never would have thought that would be a thing. And it actually was a mixing board, and like, so then on and on and on.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I find that fascinating, and that's really what we're talking about here. But mostly in the internet world, even though it's regular business, but also marketing, like, how to build a marketing model that then has a business model, that you're true building of equity in it, and that you have some business assets that you're leveraging rather than just systems or your time.
That's right. So if any of this sounds good to you guys, if you like these ideas, then I highly encourage you to go to the link below my beard, to go to showspath.com/slumps, read the amazing letter and training that Joshua has created for you all around abundance, prosperity, and really thinking about things at this higher level. And I encourage you to pick up the Income for Life training program at a price that you think it was truly worth for you. I would go over there, I'd grab it and start reading it right now. And the reason is because it will help to light up your brain and get you out of the slumps. It'll kick those slumps right out of you. And so if you're looking for some inspiration, for some motivation to shake things up a little bit, open your mind, start looking at the world from a wider, bigger, better perspective, and you're really ready to go after this, go check out that link. Get Income for Life and start reading it right away. You're going to love the program.
Cool.
Highly recommended. Awesome. All right. Well,
awesome email, Telman. Hats off to you, brother. That was really, really, really good stuff.
Well, hopefully everybody else thinks so too, but I appreciate the compliment.
I'm sure the ones that are responding are the right ones.
That's right. Awesome, guys. Enjoy your afternoon. Stay warm. Go unslump yourself.
The Bulls, the Bears.
That's right. Bye, everybody.
See ya.
Toodaloo.